Okay, what have we learnt so far from the schools that have been using Teams for live lessons? And one of the key things is allow some time for social interaction, because the children may not have seen each other for some time. They will be excited to be on camera and seeing their peers. So allow time and opportunity for that kind of rebuilding of your class community. And you can start by just asking questions about what they've been doing, how they've been getting on with their schoolwork, etc., just to kind of build up pupil well-being and start to rekindle that class community. Some schools have also looked at how they could introduce reward systems as part of that live lesson. Are they using the tools correctly? Are they prompt? Are they well dressed and appropriately cited for the live lesson? So you may find that useful to motivate pupils and comply with your code of conduct that we've talked about previously. Of course, we're really interested in applying Rosenshine principles to make sure our live lessons are effective as they possibly can be. So the key messages here from the schools that have been working live lessons for a few weeks is to keep the live instruction part of the lesson short and focused. Apply those Rosenshine principles of reviewing previous learning and presenting new material in small steps. Guide a few pupils through practice examples, and use the next live lesson to review the independent practice work that arises from the current live lesson. So be thinking ahead about what you want the pupils to do to practice and consolidate what has been taught in that lesson, and use that at the start of the next lesson as part of your recall. What's useful is to build in structured checkpoints to help create a positive dynamic. And it's a real opportunity to deal with misconceptions, but you just need to manage that appropriately so it makes effective use of the available time. You don't want to be sidetracked into dealing with a lot of misconceptions. It's important to focus on the key misconception and then move on to delivering your lesson. Again, the final kind of set of lessons learnt really is about consistency. That's consistency from week to week and consistency between classes. So make sure you set the meeting options consistently so pupils don't interrupt by requesting control of your presentations. If you haven't got an appropriate space to conduct the lesson yourself, if you're in a family space, then use the blur or image background tools if you're conducting that meeting from somewhere where the background would be a distraction from the learning. Recommend that all lessons are recorded, and ideally you'd have another member of staff supporting, so they can check the conversation bar, etc., and just support you with any kind of technical issues, etc. If pupils are talking when they shouldn't be, you have the function to mute them on the participants list. When you go to Teams, you'll see all the controls down the bottom, and the one that says show participants, if you click on that, you'll have an option if you've got people here to mute them. And we've got a raise hand tool, which is really useful as well. You can encourage that when children need to speak, or you could use it just to ask some questions or some quick polling if you like. So you might say, raise your hand if you think 1/7 of a pizza is a bigger portion than 1/8 of a pizza. Then you can see which children have got misconceptions about the particular topic you're talking about. So we've got a number of tools as well as raise hand to help you in the participation of a meeting. You can turn your own video off if you're finding you've got kind of bandwidth issues, you're breaking up. Then you could turn your video off, although ideally we'd have videos on because that's an important part of the reconnection really. You can unmute yourself and mute yourself if you've got several colleagues on the call who need to speak. And you've also got options to record the meeting, of course, put your hand up, share the chat messages, or see and exchange chat messages, end the meeting at the end, and add anybody who's missing from your original list.